The Krillian announcer's voice boomed across the arena's crystalline dome, its translation reaching the minds of 1 trillion spectators across 47 star systems. For 3,000 rotations, no challenger has survived the arena of Zirath. Today, witness another hopeful soul meet their eternal rest. Commander Vexithari of the Galactic Council adjusted her ceremonial robes, watching from the VIP section as the arena floor shimmered into existence. The pocket dimension materialized as a labyrinthine fortress of obsidian and plasma, designed by the greatest architects of 13 species. At its center stood Gorlak the Eternal, current champion for the past 700 years. Gorlak was a magnificent terror, 12 feet of scaled muscle and cybernetic enhancement, his forearms each wielding weapons forged from collapsed star matter. His victories had become legend. The Centaurian Blademaster had lasted 90 seconds. The psychic warriors of Zephyr Prime had fallen in half that time. The mechanical perfectionist from the Nexus Collective had been torn apart in mere moments. And now, the announcer continued, our challenger approaches. The transport beam activated, and Vexithari leaned forward with mild interest. She expected another foolish warrior seeking glory, perhaps a young draconian hoping to make a name for himself, or maybe an enhanced cyberlord testing new modifications. Instead, a human stepped into the arena. The crowd fell silent. In 3 millennia, no human had ever entered the arena of Zirath. They were known throughout the galaxy as the species that talked too much, asked too many questions, and somehow stumbled into diplomatic solutions when everyone else preferred honorable combat. They were traders, explorers, and mediators, not warriors. The human was unremarkable by galactic standards. Average height, no visible cybernetic enhancements, wearing what appeared to be standard-issue military fatigues from Earth's colonial defense force. He carried no exotic weapons, no energy shields, no genetic modifications that anyone could detect. What is your name, small creature? Gorlak's voice rumbled through the arena like an avalanche. The human looked up at the towering champion without flinching. Lieutenant Commander Jake Morrison, Earth Defense Force, you can call me Jake. Gorlak laughed, a sound like grinding mountains. I will call you nothing, because the dead need no names. What weapons do you bring to face me? Jake reached behind his back and pulled out what looked like an ancient projectile weapon. Several species in the audience began discussing in confused whispers. Kinetic weapons had been obsolete for over 2,000 years. This, Jake said, hefting the rifle. And this. He tapped his temple with his free hand. The arena's automated systems scanned the weapon and announced its specifications to the crowd. Primitive kinetic projectile launcher. Effective range, 2 kilometers. Ammunition. Metallic slugs propelled by chemical combustion. Technological rating, level 2 on the galactic scale. The crowd erupted in laughter. Gorlak's confusion was visible even through his battle mask. You mock me with ancient tools? I don't mock anyone, Jake replied calmly, checking his weapon with practiced ease. I just use what works. The arena's countdown began. 10 seconds until combat initiation. Jake started moving immediately, not waiting for the signal. This broke no rules. The countdown was merely traditional courtesy. Gorlak roared and charged, his massive form crushing the arena floor with each step. Plasma cannons emerged from his shoulders. Energy blades extended from his arms, and targeting systems locked onto the human's heat signature. Jake disappeared. Not literally, but he moved in ways that confused every tracking system in the arena. He slid under a collapsed pillar, rolled behind a plasma generator, used the arena's own geometry against itself. When Gorlak fired his weapons, Jake was never where the targeting computers predicted. Impossible, Vexithari muttered, her scientific mind racing. His movement patterns make no logical sense. But they did make sense, just not to species that had spent millennia relying on computer-assisted combat. Jake moved like a creature that had evolved on a death world, whose ancestors had survived by outthinking predators that were bigger, stronger, and faster. He moved like someone whose species had spent thousands of years perfecting the art of asymmetric warfare. Gorlak spun in confusion, firing wildly. His plasma bolts melted sections of the arena, but Jake seemed to anticipate every shot. The human's rifle barked once, twice, 3 times. Each shot struck not Gorlak himself, but the joints of his cybernetic enhancements. The crowd watched in stunned silence as the galaxy's greatest champion began to slow, his enhanced reflexes failing as his technological advantages were systematically dismantled by precise strikes to vulnerable points that no one else had even thought to target. His battle computer is calculating trajectory patterns, Jake called out, his voice carrying clearly across the arena. But humans don't move in patterns. We adapt. The rifle fired again. Gorlak's shoulder cannon sparked and went dead. Another shot, and his targeting array flickered offline. Jake wasn't trying to penetrate the champion's armor. He was turning Gorlak's technological superiority into a liability. 3,000 years, Jake continued, methodically working his way around the increasingly frustrated champion. And no one thought to study how you fight before challenging you. Everyone just brought bigger weapons and stronger armor. Gorlak lunged desperately, but his enhanced speed was gone, his weapon systems failing. Jake stepped aside with casual ease and placed his final shot perfectly into the power coupling that fed Gorlak's life support systems. The great champion collapsed, not dead but completely helpless, his cybernetic enhancements shutting down one by one. The arena fell silent. In the VIP section, Vexithari realized she was holding her breath. Jake walked over to the fallen champion and extended his hand. Good fight. Your technique was impressive, you just relied too much on your equipment. Gorlak stared up at the human in bewilderment. How did you know where to strike? I watched your previous fights, Jake replied, helping the much larger being to sit up. All of them. Humans might not be the strongest or fastest, but we're really good at learning from other people's mistakes. The announcer's voice finally returned, shaky with disbelief. The champion has fallen. After 3,000 years, we have a new champion of the arena of Zirath. Jake looked up at the cameras floating around the arena. Actually, I'm good. Anyone who wants the title can have it. I just came here to prove a point. What point? Vexithari found herself asking aloud. Jake smiled. That peculiar human expression that had puzzled xenobiologists for centuries. That sometimes the best weapon isn't the newest one. Sometimes it's just knowing how to think. As he walked toward the exit portal, Jake paused and looked back at the crowd. Oh, and for the record, humans don't fight for glory or honor or eternal fame. We fight because someone has to, and we're stubborn enough to figure out how to win. The Galactic Arena had finally lost a champion, but more importantly, the galaxy had learned something new about the species that preferred talking to fighting, and what happened when you gave them a good enough reason to stop talking.